Okay, yeah, let's just start over, because we started recording, but within 6 minutes, the Yeti Blue was just unrecognized by Windows 10 twice. So that's a shit show. Basically, what we went over is we're being attacked by adorable chows.
Yeah.
This Palmadoodle. Final Fantasy 2 is a step up from Final Fantasy 1, but in some ways, in terms of party progression and party composition, a clear step back. Which are problems that only manifest themselves after a little while of play, so it's hard to get into them now, but they will become apparent very quickly.
Those horns, or is that hair?
I believe it's hair shaped into horns.
That's pretty intense.
Like, you gotta kind of gel it up and then get your assistant to wrap stuff around it.
I wonder if there's like an armature inside of that to like support it, or what?
Oh yeah, does it have like an internal framework?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like you're building a sculpture or like a pinata. And you start off with this wire frame, and you just wrap your hair around it, and you go, yes.
It wouldn't fall like that. It's an inside job.
Dude, did you know jet fuel can't melt steel?
I mean, why is the smoke coming out of the other buildings dark gray and that one had no smoke at all or something?
I know, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't burn.
I've never seen such a perfect controlled demolition. Loose change.
What's up with these guys' gait? What is that?
For all the world, I think they're supposed to be automatons.
They just all have a limp.
Kind of. Just a very inhuman way of walking. I mean, for fuck's sake, their eyes are glowing red.
I watched the Death Stranding, the second trailer. And have you watched that?
Yeah.
That's fucking,
oh yeah.
When all those soldiers are leaving that one guy, and they all like have glowing. I think they have glowing eyes.
They do. They have glowing shit.
And they're just like they're being like disconnected from him, and then when the like little tentacle thingies come back to the main dude, he's like, oh.
Yeah, he seems to get some weird sense of pleasure almost when they disconnect from him. And so right now, these are our four heroes running away. Just running away.
As is their wont in life.
As is the ancient tradition. And basically, the last thing we went over is that the setup of this game is there's a good empire and there's a bad empire, and the bad empire is attacking, and wow, she is chesty. Like, not even huge, it's just everything about her I don't know what to call it. Her chest item, basically.
It's all
just emphasizes all the curves. So
yeah, I feel like the prerequisite to being a Final Fantasy hero is first you have to run the fuck away when shit gets crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone who was a true hero to begin with, they died in the fire. So all the cowards that ran away, they're the only ones left.
Yeah, well, they're the ones who get to go kill goblins at their leisure.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, they get to go punch themselves in the face at their leisure, and become strong enough to fight the Emperor.
I mean, I know these guys are going through some tough stuff, but why does Gus look so haggard and sad?
He's just well, unfortunately, they made him semi-retarded. He doesn't talk often, but when he does, you'll see.
So,
and here they are, still running away.
I like how the one dark soldier guy was like fell behind a bit and then caught up. Like,
oh no!
Like, we're done chasing them, right? Because the other people are coming to flank them. Oh wait, not yet. Okay.
Okay, gotta keep up for. Okay, here we are.
Now I can.
There
stop.
it is, Gus. No escape.
You can't escape. Just run down.
Or up. Maybe, I don't know. Like, maybe serpentine a little bit.
Yes.
I guess that's hard to do when you can only move in cardinal directions. Cloud could serpentine. First protagonist who could. So yeah, you get into this first fight, and the Black Knights just demolish you.
Ouchies.
Watch how her bow animates when it attacks. Oh, never mind, I tried to run away.
Yeah.
Just to see what would happen.
Well, you know, as a Final Fantasy hero, you have to run away.
I guess they were already running away.
And she's like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm good at. Oh, I'm not good at that either. Oh no. Nope, he's dead. He's just striking you with the staff.
The staff of healing.
This will either heal them or it will kill them more. But the good thing is if I keep hitting them, it will kill them and bring them back to life.
I gotta hit them hard enough that they get the healing, but not so hard that I do more damage than the healing heals.
It's a very delicate operation. Now stand back, spits in his hands, rubs them together, grabs the staff. He's like, here we go. Someone puts a blindfold on him.
Actually, let me give this to my assistant Mongo to deal with. Mongo. Mongo like healing. Aw, pupper.
Yeah, see, Rusty knew if you wanted to stay in, you had to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
And hide under the bed like a coward.
Once the Empire completes the Dreadnought, they'll fuck us up. So they're giving us a little bit of plot right there. Not much. A little bit. Well, so far the microphone hasn't died. That's handy.
Furion. So is this like the defaulto leader?
Yeah, you can't even rearrange your party members in this one.
Tex!
Maria! Por qué Maria? 1 out of 200 of you will get that.
Dix? Dix? If you named them all like that, Dix, Dix, Dix! That'd been cool.
I'm so glad you're alive. I thought I'd stop.
You just have to learn in what order he says their name and name them Dix.
Yeah,
Dix?
It's like when you rename Epona. Oh, Gus, Finn Princess saved us. That's how he talks.
Gus, why didn't you learn to talk good?
But Dick's not here.
Aww.
Because Gus he's muscular. Look at his design. Well, you can't really tell here, but once you get into combat, you see he has like big beefy shoulders. So he's supposed to be beefy but dumb. And we just go talk to the princess, and it's like, hey princess, I know we just got our ass stomped, but can we like help? Can we help a little bit?
Please allow us to join the rebel forces.
So there is a bit more story to this one than in Final Fantasy 1. And for the remake, at least, they gave the characters default names and a little bit of character, but not much. Their storytelling chops wouldn't start to come into fruition until Final Fantasy 4. Maybe in 3, but again, the only version of 3 you can play, really, is the DS port or anything based off of that port. So I don't know how much was in the default Final Fantasy 3. Here's the cool thing they do in this game, though. You see how that's highlighted in red?
Yeah.
Wild Rose? You can memorize it. There are key words like this that you memorize, and then you can ask numerous characters about. And often you have to do it for plot significance. Because like you memorize this, and then you ask them about it, and then they tell you where to go. Or they tell you about something else that you can ask about, or you tell someone else the word, and like, oh, that's the important password. Like, that's a password that you need to pass later. And a canoe. And then you also get key items, which you use the item command. So you come back later, and it's like, I have this ring, and she's like, oh. I
like how your dude was like, let us join, and then Hilda was like, you kidding me? You guys just got your asses beat.
You just died. We just resurrected you 5 minutes ago.
Literally go home.
But then they're like, we don't have homes. It's just like, good point.
She's like, I guess they're dying. Does this game have a rose? Like a back row? Front row? Oh.
Nope. They didn't have that yet either.
Does it look like the one portrait of the character is off to the side, but I guess it probably just does that.
It's just the way that it's drawn, is she's a little...
I see.
Yeah. The Firion and Gus are kind of to the left, and she's more to the right and center.
Please, help yourself to all of our shit. It's not like we have a very limited supply.
Yeah, just take our Anne potion.
The one potion we have.
Uh-huh. She came to Altair. Look at my sexy asymmetrical haircut. See how my ponytail's pulled off to the side?
That makes you want to fuck me more.
Yeah, sure does. She's just like, I know what I'm working with.
It's just learning that sort of tech back in medieval times or whatever, you know.
Someone figured it out first, right? Someone was pulling their hair into a ponytail, but fucked it up, and it was kind of off to the side, but then they're like, huh.
She didn't have time to fix it before, like, going to the mill or wherever, and then as she passed all the dudes, they were all just like, what is it about her that makes me want to fuck her so much more?
So the king was hit in the back with an arrow, and now he's in bed, slowly dying. I just wanted to make sure there was nothing, in his shelves that I could like steal from him.
They didn't have really good medicine then, so they just cut a hole in his bed for the
Yeah.
arrow to go through the back.
That's not even medicine. Just pull it out. But they also have cure magic.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, they're just very incompetent.
They have like Phoenix Downs, but people die.
Mindu just resurrected you, but the king's like, wait, wouldn't it be faster for me to just die and then you resurrect me? Seems like it'd be less painful. I paved this up a little bit.
The thief of all thieves.
Yep. I sped this up a little bit because I'm just walking around town like, okay, just gotta get some stuff, go to this inn. So, resting at the inn right there caused 0 gil because...
0 damage.
I have 0 damage and I'm missing 0 mana. Unlike every other RPG I've ever played, the cost of the inn is dependent upon how much HP and mana you're missing. Which can be very frustrating when you're trying to level up your party early on, because you can cure yourself with cure magic and get your HP back up, and that can take a huge chunk off of the bill for the inn. But fighting the early level enemies that are the ones you would want to level up against because they can't kill you easily, they don't drop anything.
What was
for
that?
Gil. That was an elixir.
That was like
50,000.
50,000.
Yeah, you can actually buy the high level items in this game, but they're very expensive. However, unlike every other Final Fantasy, your items don't stack. You have 63 item slots, and each item takes up 1. That includes your equipment.
What?
It includes your key items. Now, it doesn't include the equipment you have on you,
Yeah.
but if you want to keep stuff in reserve, like, oh, I have a flame spear, so this is good if I, encounter ice enemies, that's just taking up 1 permanent item spot. So, for once, there is some item management in a Final Fantasy, which is actually pretty annoying. And I believe I cut out some leveling right there. Let's see.
Yeah,
I did, because I went from 20... 30 and 40 to 107, 52, and 213.
Yeah, where is Diggs? Where is that fucker?
He's just gone. They didn't find him. It's mysterious. He's a mysterious Jogo.
That whole inn thing does sound really shitty, because that's...
Because you will start to know...
Like, how
especially
do you make
early
money if you can't fight? And
especially,
how do you fight if you're dead?
Exactly. Especially early on when the enemies aren't dropping much money. Later on, it's not a problem. Just like Final Fantasy 1, how I said it has like an income curve where eventually it's almost sloping back on itself somehow. In this, it gets to the point where you're fighting just jobber enemies and they're dropping 6,000 gil, or you're fighting jobber enemies, but they're dropping... Each of them is dropping a tome for some spell, which is how you learn magic in this game. They're using, item tomes on your characters. And each tome is worth like 5,000, 7,500, 10 grand. So by the end of this game, I'm just swimming in gil and it's not a problem. But early on, those enemies are dropping 10 gil, 20, maybe 50 if you're lucky. But you can easily run up a bill for an inn to recover your mana, which greatly exceeds what you would make in a single fight.
I noticed that in like an equipment or status screen, it showed the handedness of each character.
Oh yeah, each character is left or right-handed, because each character can dual wield by default, but whichever weapon they have in their offhand deals like half damage, I think.
Oh.
So you want to make sure that if you're going to have a character dual wield, that you put the stronger weapon in their dominant hand.
So in Final Fantasy 1, you picked your class characters.
Yeah.
What do these characters like? Are they defaulting into a certain type of class, or
a little bit. The way they start off, it kind of encourages you to build them a little differently. For instance, Gus has higher strength and HP. Firion starts with a shield and a sword and kind of moderate HP. And Maria starts with the lowest HP, but she has a bow and I don't think she has very high strength. And so the way it tends to end up where I build them for some reason is Maria ends up being the healer, Gus ends up dual wielding, and then Firion has his buckler and his sword. But there's nothing preventing you from completely upending that.
Huh.
Because the way I should explain how leveling up actually works for anyone watching this, there are no experience points in this game. You level up by well, you level up one stat at a time by using that stat in battle. So to level up your HP, your character's HP needs to be diminished to a certain point. To level up your MP, you need to diminish your MP by a certain amount. To level up your strength, you need to physically attack. I don't know how you build shit like agility, for instance. That just seems to go up at random. But by using your stats in battle, you increase them, but only after the battle itself.
So how many like attacks does it take to level up your attack or something?
That's the other thing, because you also level up your familiarity with your weapons, and that takes a long time. I don't know how many it takes. I think you gain... I think it depends on the level of the enemy you're attacking, but I think on average you're going to gain 2 points of proficiency per attack. And you need 100 proficiency points in order to level up the weapon. So you're looking at about 50 attacks to get his sword skill up another level. So, that's 2 points right there. 50 more of that. The problem with this system is it incentivizes you to kick your own party's ass. And that's why I completely cut out any kind of
time to raise your HP, Maria.
Yeah, that's what you do. You stand there and you pound your party over and over, and then you heal them, and then you go back at it. And that's why I was saying that you can easily run up a bill at an inn, which could possibly exceed your ability to pay it in the early game, because you're exhausting your supply of HP and MP with a single battle, but that single battle doesn't give you nearly enough gil to offset the cost of staying at the inn. So you do begin to run a deficit if you try to level up too aggressively. But you need to level up aggressively because this game is a motherfucker because they didn't have balance down yet. So early on, you do run into a significant issue where it's like, I'm not quite strong enough for this, but at the same time, I'm not making enough gil to do this. And that's probably this game's biggest detriment, is that it's just leveling up your party members is a slow, arduous task. And you need to level up everything. All their stats need to be leveled up through use. Their weapon skills need to be leveled up through use. Even their spells need to be leveled up through use. So your spells level up just the same as your weapons. You use them.
That's crazy.
You use them.
Weapons level up.
Yeah.
Basically.
And so and leveling up your spells is the most arduous thing in the world.
That fucker ran away.
Just ran away. I don't know why there's a goblin in town.
Yeah,
but
in the middle of town.
Yeah.
Like what?
Granted, this town is under occupation, which is why we're going here right now. We need to talk to, I think, a guy at the pub, and he'll let us go somewhere important. But that doesn't matter right now, because we're talking about how fucked up this leveling system is.
If I went to a town in this game, and I was like, man, I gotta save this town, but no one's here, and no one was in the weapon shop, I'd be grabbing, I'd be like, I'll deal with it later.
Yeah. I'll take this mithril spear while I'm here, though. I'll pay for it later, don't worry.
I'll pay for it by saving them, maybe.
So when you play a modern RPG, unless it's the type that intentionally wants to kick you in the balls, like the Shin Megami Tensei games, the way they tend to be set up is if you fight every encounter from here to the next boss, you'll be strong enough to take on that boss, get through that area, right?
Yeah.
They've designed it in such a way, they balance it out so that...
Fucking Strangler.
I know. And they look happy to do it. But they balance it out so that just fighting the enemies you naturally encounter will usually do it. Sometimes you might want to grind out just to make the counter a little easier. Maybe you need to grind just a little bit, and again, that depends on the game. But the problem with this game is that the way it's set up is that each encounter doesn't necessarily give you any tangible progress toward an increase in power. You need to take time to go into a fight and just kick your own ass. You need to do that. You can't get your party strong enough to take on the next challenge through organic gameplay.
That's fucked up.
And I think Rusty farted, but he's tiny, so it doesn't. It's
not
not so
Riggs.
potent. Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
like
it's
Riggs who pumps out more gas, more volume of gas than his body is.
Then he has body. So this is a prince of another kingdom, another friendly kingdom, who was injured in that battle at the start of the game. Except unlike us, he can't be healed for some reason. He's also, his name is Scott.
My name is Scott.
Prince of Cassian. Pleased to meet you. And he is betrothed to Princess Hilda. And his brother Gordon is some jackass just hanging around in town.
These names.
Yeah.
Scott. Yeah.
He's going to give us a quick little task. He wants us to tell her that his love will be with her always.
And then he dies.
Not quite. No, don't tell her that. No, don't do that. She should find another love. A man with a dick bigger than mine. Wait, that's impossible. Tell her that. Tell her she can find a man with a dick bigger than mine. She can have him. Because I know it won't happen.
Just don't tell any of my friends about it.
Please. Please.
Tell all my friends my dick was the biggest.
Tell them you confirmed it with your own eyes.
Asked to see their dicks.
So he climbs out of bed to give you a ring and then just falls over dead.
And they're like,
oh.
Oh, bummer. Let's all close our eyes and look down for the
and then just
appropriate amount of time.
And then just like in Star Wars and Dragon Ball, when an important character dies, their body just disappears.
Their socks curl up and get sucked underneath the house.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, so weird.
Yeah, by the way, if you talk to any of these knights, they are those dark knights that kick your ass at the very start.
Do they kick your ass again?
They kill you.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So if you haven't saved,
you're dead.
So how is saving in this game?
Saving in this game is better. There aren't save points within dungeons, but you can save on the overworld map. You aren't restricted to inns and tents and the like. So it's a little more flexible, but it does mean that you need to be prepared before going into a dungeon. Not as prepared as in Final Fantasy 1, at least with this edition, because I have memo saves, so I can still abuse that. But unlike Final Fantasy 1, where I was scrubbing through the entire playthrough looking for, okay, where did I memo save? Where did I memo save? And cutting those out as much as possible. I very seldom used it in this one. I think I only save scummed a couple of times, and it was only because, well, it was only due to the problem that I just mentioned, where you don't gain enough power from fighting the enemies you come across to be able to take care of the challenges presented to you. And the other problem being that they had no idea how to balance this game. Most bosses are made difficult because they're just extremely, absurdly resistant to every form of damage you throw at them. Like, it will come to a head in a few episodes where I fight an enemy called a Shrieker, I think. It just looks like this flaming red skull. And when I first got to it, all my physical attacks were doing 0 damage. Flat out. And I had no offensive magic because I knew how long it takes to level up magic. Yeah. I didn't want to bother with that. So I was just using physical attacks. I'm like, fuck, I can't handle this the way it is, the way I am. I can't do it. So I needed to back out of that dungeon. I needed the save scum to my memo file, which was right before the boss, warp out, and then go dedicate time to leveling up. And so I spent some time leveling up my ice magic to throw at it. And because I figured, oh, this thing looks like it's made of fire, I bet it's weak against ice, whatever. And then I get to the boss again after an hour or two of leveling, and I cast Ice 2 or Ice 3 on him, and he absorbs it.
Oh.
And like, fuck, but I do have Fire 1. It's incredibly weak, but I have it, goddammit. And so I cast Fire on him, and he absorbs it. And so at that point, I paused and looked online, and it's like, this boss is... Oh, this is Gordon, by the way, the brother of that prince. And he's sad because he's a coward. We show him his ring of his brother, and he's like, oh, fuck. But I got to that boss, and I'm like, okay, he absorbs all magic, and he's resistant to physical attacks. And I'm just staring at it like, what do I do here? What do I actually do? And the only reason I was able to beat him at the time was because in the course of leveling up, I happened to fight a pack of enemies who dropped a Berserk scroll. So one of my characters just happened to know Berserk, which when I cast that on my 2 melee attackers, because at the time I only had really 2 dedicated melee attackers, they were able to do some damage to him with physical attacks. Critical hits, even against bosses like that, will do some damage. But this made it so that the regular attacks were doing 10 damage, 12 damage, a little bit. Better than 0.
Jeez.
And so after a few minutes, I was able to just wear it down, get through it. But that's another huge problem with this game, is they just throw enemies at you that are so resistant to your attacks that you're doing 0 to 10 damage to them at a time. And you're just like, what the fuck do I actually do?
Imagine the little shitty jobber enemies that you're like, all right, gonna get in a fight with this goblin, and then we're gonna beat the shit out of each other to level up. And they're just like watching you, like throwing in their attacks every once in a while, and you're just like, get the fuck out of here. We're only keeping you alive so we can keep fighting each other.
They're just watching you level up like a Saiyan, and they're like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, you would think, I mean, it'd be cool if there was like a training thing you could do where it's essentially you get in a fight with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, if that was the best way to level up, they should have just thrown something like that in there. Maybe it was just horribly unbalanced and not tested. They're like, this will work.
I have the feeling that's what it was. It just wasn't properly tested because this was like 1988, I think. Maybe 1989, something like that. Very, very early on. And they just didn't have the experience. The only experience they have is Final Fantasy 1. And this basically pulls, Zelda 2.
Yeah.
And just goes in not a completely different direction, but actually this did the opposite of Zelda. Whereas Zelda added an experience system, this scrapped it completely. And I imagine it was received in Japan in such a way that they said, we're never doing that again.
Yeah.
Because they've never had anything that even hinted at this in anything. They've had various forms of character progression. They've had materia, they've had license boards, they've had a draw system, all that, but they've never done anything even approaching this.
I haven't really seen much on here, but you kind of level your weapons in Final Fantasy IX in a way, right?
A little
but
bit.
That's different.
Not even that. They have skills on them, and the AP that you gain from battle goes toward those skills.
Yeah.
Which, again, almost every Final Fantasy after this has used some kind of AP system.
Oh, Mindu joins the party?
Yeah, so now you have, and he gives you his canoe, which he just had.
Find.
He just had it with him.
It's like a friend who has a car.
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, just so happens I have this in my pocket in this small treasure chest.
Oh, sweet. Oh man, now I can move this Friday.
And he can heal you guys.
Oh yeah, he has all kinds of spells. He's handy. That guy told us we can't get the Salamander on foot. I'll address that in a moment.